Hey guys, it's Christina, and I wanted to film one more quick video before 2020, which is so weird to think we're going into a new decade. So yeah, we're here to talk about my 2019 favorites. If you happen to hear any noise in the background, that's fireworks, because it's New Year's Eve. I'm gonna try to see if I can see some fireworks in the distance and get some on camera, not sure. But anyway. Let's just go ahead and get into it. So, my biggest favorite of the year is, the fact that my lymphoma is in remission. I had some blood work done, back in August, I think it was. So yeah, I've been very lucky that this year, I haven't had to have, like, constant blood work and, IVs and stuff like that. Um, so yeah. Anyway, so that's the reason I'm here is because my lymphoma's in remission, and I've been very lucky about that. And I actually I get follow-up testing done in February. So yeah. Anyway, so let's let's move past that, because all of a sudden I'm getting emotional, which isn't something I've actually ever done on camera before. What was I gonna say next? The fact that I got to be on the red carpet at South by Southwest for the movie Darlin'. That was a huge deal. So yeah, so it was cool seeing my friends. And the other film festivals I went to this year were also really awesome. I went to, even though I only went to one day of it, because I have no idea what movies were playing there, I went to What the Fest in New York to watch Darlin', and went to Chattanooga Film Festival and Cinepocalypse. And I got to see Joe Bob Briggs at both of those film festivals, so that was really cool. A lot of people, thankfully, had actually recognized me, like remembered seeing me at these film festivals, and so they went ahead and connected with me on Twitter afterwards, which I really appreciate, because I've made some new friends that, for instance, if I get back to Chattanooga and Chicago next year, I have some people that I can chit chat with, because as y'all know, I'm a very anxious person. It's tough for me to talk to people in person. As it is on Twitter, I kind of overanalyze my tweets and stuff like that. But anyway, one other thing I did this year that was new to me was I actually volunteered at the Overlook Film Festival in New Orleans, and it was a lot of fun. I had attended last year. I had gone to see Darren Lynn Bousman's movie St. Agatha, and I had gone to the Shockwaves podcast last year and met Ryan Turek, and that was a lot of fun. And so I had decided this year that I wanted to volunteer, and so I actually went ahead and volunteered all 4 days. One of the days I actually I had 2 shifts instead of just one. Even though, like I said, I'm generally a very introverted, anxious person, and, just being out for a couple of hours doing something like that, would normally make me feel like, oh, I need to go back home and recharge. But I went ahead and I persevered, and I made myself, do a little bit more than what, I may have otherwise been comfortable doing. I even went to the Fangoria Filmmaker Party for, what felt like 5 minutes, but realistically it was probably more like 10 to 15 minutes. Just kind of walking around and waiting to see if anybody recognized me. Since I can't see people very well, I kind of rely on them to come up to me. So yeah, that was really awesome to volunteer at the film festival. One thing that I had noticed that I thought was really interesting is that there's actually, this whole subculture of people that, they routinely travel around and volunteer at festivals, whether it's film festivals, music, you know, whatever the case may be, and they just love doing that, whether it's volunteer or whether it's a paid gig. Not the kind of lifestyle I would want, but, you know, it's a good thing to kind of experience, both attending film festivals and volunteering, because then you can kind of figure out, you know, what it is, you prefer doing. So I'm sure this video is already a million years long, so let me just go ahead and kind of fly through some of these movies that were my favorites of 2019. And the first one I wanted to mention was Crawl. This is a movie about, I want to say it's alligators. Honestly, I don't know the difference between a crocodile and an alligator. If you do know the difference, please leave me a comment down below in the comments section and let me know. But this is a really awesome action-adventure movie. So, a few other quick favorites from this year. Pet Sematary. I really love the new version of that. I never know nowadays whether to say remake or, like, revamped, revised version, whatever the case may be. The Intruder was also a really good movie. By the way, if you can't tell, most of these DVDs are still in their plastic shrink wrap, because I have turned into one of those people that, like, collects DVDs and doesn't usually watch them. The same way I've subscribed to the new versions of Fangoria last year, and I've never opened any of them. Lords of Chaos, that was another favorite of mine this year. Vice Squad that I saw when I was at Chattanooga Film Festival, that was really awesome. It's like a really gritty 80s, I don't even know if you call it like a thriller or an action movie, but anyway, really awesome movie. Villains. This was my favorite that I had seen at, this was the first movie that I saw when I went to Cinepocalypse this year, and the only other Bill Skarsgård movie that I know of that came out this year was It Chapter 2. But this movie is really awesome. It's a horror comedy. Actually, there are a lot of horror comedies that I'm into, if y'all can't tell. But anyway, I'm really looking forward to watching this again. Like I said, I don't want this video to be like 50 minutes long. And this movie, this last one that I'm actually about to show y'all is, well, let me turn it around first to make sure I'm holding it the right way. This movie, Tammy and the T-Rex, I also saw at Cinepocalypse. I believe it's an early 90s movie with Denise Richards. And it is not the type of movie I would normally watch. I think I had heard the plot line of this when I was, like, listening to a podcast or something. Maybe I was listening to Shockwaves or whatever, but anyway. They were talking about this movie, and I was like, I don't know if that would interest me. Well, cut to, you know, the time that I was at Cinepocalypse, and they actually, what am I trying to say? I mean, the whole movie, like, the whole theater was sold out. Like, the fact that it was sold out and the audience was, like, roaring with laughter. Yeah, that's a pun and a half, right? Because it's a T-Rex movie. But anyway, so the fact that the audience was, you know, reacting to it so strongly, it just actually made it fun for me, and it didn't make it, scary. Because, like I said before, like, some things are just so absurd to me that they can kind of scare me a little bit, because I'm like, oh geez, how, you know, there are actually people that think of this kind of stuff. So I watched a few other things this year that were out of my comfort zone, and by the way, I'm not mentioning these because these are 2019 favorites. I'm mentioning them because I'm apparently this year getting out of my comfort zone a little bit when it comes to watching movies. Whether I end up liking the movies, you know, by the end or not. But anyway, so I also watched and I'm about to trip over my words. I also watched that Crispin Glover movie, which I don't remember the name of, but it had a lot of explicit sexual scenes in it, and I don't care to watch it again. Even though I do understand, like, the, you know, the whole, like, behind the scenes story of why the movie was made and stuff like that. Like, I can understand that, but still, you know, I just didn't really care for it. And the other thing that I watched that was out of my comfort zone was actually a bit more recently. I was on Twitter, And I think it was my friend, one of my friend that does the Night of the Horror File podcast. Shout out to y'all, by the way. He had mentioned something on there about Trauma Productions and Toxic Avenger. And if y'all have seen my horror movie tag video that I did, then y'all would know that I ever since I was a kid, I've always been fearful of the live action Toxic Avenger. It gave me a lot of nightmares and anxiety when I was a kid. And so anyway, I went ahead and actually I mentioned that to him on the tweet. And I didn't realize at the time, because sometimes you tweet things and you don't realize that there's multiple people copied on there. And so I tweeted to him after, and I was like, I mentioned the fact that I'm afraid of Toxie. And so I didn't realize that the president of Trauma, Lloyd Kaufman, was on this string of tweets. And so he ended up visiting my Twitter page and retweeting some of my stuff, which was really sweet of him, by the way. But then he also really wanted me to check out this, they have an animated, an animated Trauma Christmas special. And so I went ahead on YouTube and I watched a little bit of it in increments. I personally, I don't care for bodily function humor. I know of a lot of actors who are into that kind of thing. So, I mean, if he wants a list of actors who will do that kind of, that kind of humor, he can let me know. But, anyway. So I've watched a little bit of it in increments. And I did ask a friend of mine, what movies do they have that I might want to check out that might be a little bit more of my taste. So to kind of end this video off, I wanted to mention a few of my food, well actually one of each at the moment, because that's all I have here with me at the moment. Food and drink favorites. Obviously my drink favorite of the year is still coffee. This is the only one I could find at the moment. I love the Dunkin' Cold Brew. I've been making that a lot. And this is my favorite Starbucks coffee, which is also killing me from the inside. This is the Toasted Graham K-Cups that I love ordering off of Amazon. And if y'all are new here, I have acid reflux, so I'm not supposed to be drinking coffee. I'm not a smoker, but I'm not supposed to be around smoke. Not supposed to drink, not supposed to have any fatty foods or fried foods or citrus or mint. But I've still been partaking in all the flavored, coffee drinks and stuff like that. I've been drinking a lot of peppermint lattes and pumpkin spice and stuff like that. It's just tough, and I'm actually on a GERD discussion group, and it's interesting to me how there are some people that they've kind of embraced the fact that they have this lifestyle, and they've tried to come up with some creative recipes for themselves, and then there's other people like me who kind of try to do the right thing, but then you get bored really quickly and you go back off of it, and then there's some people that just they're just to hell with it. Let me just do whatever I want, which is how I feel most of the time, kind of right now, which isn't good. I really in 2020 and next year, I really want to start learning to cook healthier. I actually have 1 million cookbooks and smoothie recipes and stuff like that, and I need to start using them. And then my other favorite at the moment, which, it's kind of a random favorite, to be honest. It's not any specific dish. But I just so happened to order from Panera Bread today, so I may as well show off that one of my favorite dessert that I tend to have fairly often when they have this in stock is the pumpkin muffin from Panera Bread. So that's going to conclude my 2019 favorites. Thank y'all for sticking with me through to the end of this video. And please give it a like, leave a comment, let me know what y'all's favorites of the year were, and I'll talk to y'all later.